I say is alleged, my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Let's get into this review of the interview that Carlos King did with the Fletchers. It was a really good interview. Anyway, we got Chris and Lernell Fletcher. Carlos opens up shading Nell because she yells when she talks or when she gets angry. Okay. When she yelled at the kids at the table of the episode, Carlos says he gets away with it because he a gay man. Like, that don't got nothing to do with nothing. Anyway, Carlos asks how they feel about the fans loving the Fletchers. Nell said she was nervous at first because she didn't know how her family would be perceived. But she's happy that they are received well by the fans. Chris agrees, but feels like his family is relatable. Well, I enjoy you. I enjoy the Fletchers. It's bringing a whole new vibe to the show, aka authenticity. Okay. So they talk about Nell boobs, and Carlos wants to know if they are pacifier fed. Carlos wants to know if they're pacifier fed or bottle fed, or should he say Chris fed? OMG, like, why was that even necessary? But okay. Carlos reveals that they always wanted the Fletchers as a part of the show, but Nell was not ready. Nell said that her mother was very sickly and her sister were taking care of her mother, making her comfortable for her transition. She also said the scene with Mel and Martell at their house, she was like, oh, hell to the no, okay? Mel breaking up her fine china and stuff, nah. Nell said that Martell did the most that day, and if she was Mel, she would have tore up the backyard too, because Martell is disrespectful. The Fletchers have been married 29 years. I think they said it'll be 30 this year. They met because their friends convinced them to go out one night, and they met at a lounge. And Chris was on military leave at the time, and Chris offered to, buy some drinks for the table where Nell and her friends were sitting. And then they end up dancing, and the rest is history. Of course, we know that they're a dancing couple. They love to dance. Nell said she knew Chris would be her husband. Okay. Well, look, 30 years later. Okay. The Fletchers talk about the infidelity that happened in their marriage and then how they counseled the host. Nell said they got the infidelity, but it was a bad situation and it still hurts her to talk about it. Nell said that her concern and infidelities are the children. It doesn't just affect the husband and the wife, and she's absolutely right. She lets us know that they separated for 2 years and it affected Lexi, and that scene is some of the things Lexi is dealing with now. My question is, where was Chris? Was he down and out like Martell, losing his family? Probably so. He probably was going through it. And she could not function. Nell said she was depressed, lost weight, couldn't get her work done. She said it took a toll on her family. And, the trust. Chris broke the trust of her and the family. Nell said she was embarrassed and feels like everyone was looking at her because they was the couple that had it all together. A lot like Martell and Melody. Until them seams bust in that dress. Okay, but anyway. Carlos said, we are not going to dwell on it long because they got through it. But like Chris took responsibility. The fans, the people wanted Martell to take responsibility and give an explanation. Although he gave his explanation, which was some BS. Okay. His reasons was all the blame on Melody. Carlos wants to know why men cheat without blaming it on the wife. So Chris said he can't speak for all men. He said at times men are immature, and when you're young and who you hang around, determines what you do. Birds of a feather flock together, okay? On top of that, the peer pressure, he said his responsibilities just went out the window, left his mind, because he was being selfish, in my opinion. That's what all of them men that cheat do, okay? It's nothing to do with the women. It's all about the man and his personal decision. He said he threw caution to the wind and he went for it, so to speak. Chris let it be known that it had nothing to do with Nell. Absolutely not. It had nothing to do with her. I agree. Speaking as a woman who was married and was cheated on, it had absolutely nothing to do with me. It's just, it's just pure selfishness on the husband's part. But the women go through it because we're emotional, we're receivers. We all in the marriage, okay? We go out our way to please our husbands and make sure the household is right. And we wondering, like, why would you step outside? Selfish. It's like that kid you tell not to eat that candy or not to touch that stove, and they do it anyway. And then the husbands destroy their, families, marriages for one moment. In Martell's case, several moments. And an outside baby. Okay. We found out that Nell met up with the mistress and boom her ass. Okay. But she said that was supposed to be sealed. How did Carlos find out about that? So she didn't want to talk about it because she didn't want that woman to come look for her. Okay. But anyway, Nell is about it. Nell lets us know that sucking D ain't the issue, because how much D can you suck in a day? Okay. But let it be known that the women just wants the wife position. But the men are just stupid and not thinking. All right, now, you better tell it. The conversation transitions to the parents giving their children more because they didn't have, as they were, growing up. They don't want the kids to struggle and, suffer like they did or go without, per se. Carlos asked, did you spoil your children too much? And they both said yes in unison, okay? Chris said he grew up poor farming these farms, and Nell is from the PJs. Chris made a great point. Our parents and their parents did not have financial literacy, and that is so true. That is so true. Like, I'm learning about financial literacy in, my older age. I ain't that old, y'all, though, but, I'm learning, like, as I grow. Well, put it this way, I'm more understanding of financial literacy and what you need to do to build a legacy. And, we need to start teaching our children young where we need to start. Okay, but anyway, let me get off my soapbox. We found out that they grew up across the street from each other. As children, they actually played together, but I think Chris ended up moving away, and then Nell and her family ended up moving away. We found out that Nell's grandmother taught Chris' mother how to cook. And that was her end, okay? Once her mother found out that Nell's grandmother was her grandmother. Oh, Nell was in the family, okay? They said that they loved the Holt. And Nell and Martell going back and forth doesn't affect how they feel about the Holts. Chris said he knows that Martell was not being disrespectful to Nell. He said he ain't crazy. He ain't MFing crazy, okay? They argue like brothers and sisters. They bring up the time Marceau tried to use Chris as an alibi in Atlanta. Chris said he spent 2.5 hours with Marceau at the most. The rest of the time he can't account for. And I remember that time Marceau got on his soapbox on Instagram talking about how people don't look out for him. Chris ain't playing those games with y'all no more. You, Martell, and Maurice play those games, but Chris ain't playing those games. You see Nell will take him out. Okay, but anyway. Nell confirms that it was only 2.5 hours, and she puts it out there. She said because she had surgery. She had a tummy tuck, and Chris was there taking care of her. Nell said she knew where her husband was that day. Nell feels like Letitia wanted to have a conversation with her about the infidelity when they were at that dinner, but she said Marceau shut that down. But she said she's cool with Letitia. She has no problems with Letitia. They said they have no relationship with Kimmy and Maurice, but, they are cordial. Nell decided to do the show because now she has time. She says she was dealing with a lot with her mom and was putting out fires with her family. And she said the stuff that Chris do, okay? But she's here now, okay? And we welcome you, girl. Your family, you and Chris are very entertaining. You and Chris compliment each other. And I'm loving y'all on this show. Again, it's the authenticity for me, okay? Carlos ended the conversation there so as not to give away too much of what's going to happen on the rest of the show. For me, this was a great interview. What do y'all think? I love the Fletchers. They are doing their thing. I feel like they're a mature enough couple to give some great advice to, married couples who's going through it. Because you're not in a 30-year marriage and y'all ain't going to go through nothing. It ain't always going to be butterflies and chirping birds, okay? And cupids, okay? The thing is to get through it, and that's in life, period. Whatever you go through, what's the lesson you learned? How are we going to move forward? Okay, let me get off my soapbox again. All right, guys, that's all I got. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when my next video comes out. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.